Hi everybody, hope you're well. I hope you can hear me over the sound of the rain. Another weather warning, more wet weather. Just never wants to leave us, does it? Anyway, as you can probably see, we've had the air conditioning unit now installed in the caravan. The unit we went for was the Truma Aventa Comfort. It's 2.4 kilowatts of cooling power and 1.7 kilowatts of heating power. And the heating side of things really interests me because whilst this thing is warming up on site, it has outer central heating and that can take a little bit of time to warm up. That thing can be heating the interior of the caravan just by with its warm air and being blown around the cabin. It also interests me as well because whilst I'm here filming, I can also switch it on for a little bit of heat. The installation took place back in January at Swindon Caravans, where I bought this caravan from, and Truma themselves turned up to perform the installation. So why don't you join me back in January, where it was a lot colder but a lot drier, and we can follow together the installation process of this air conditioning unit. Before any work is carried out, there are a number of tasks that need to be completed. Firstly, a visual audit is carried out of the roof light to be replaced, and the location of the supplying electrics. This audit makes sure that the AC unit will fit on the vehicle and the construction can handle the additional weight. Now, surprisingly, not all new caravans can support an air conditioning unit on the roof, and this was a subject I covered off in a previous video, link to which is in the description below. The inspection of our caravan raised an interesting point with regards to the diffuser, but I'll come back to that a bit later on. Because the work will involve working at height and lifting of equipment, a safe working area is created with a temporary platform. Then all the required tools and consumables are laid out in a safe zone, the insides are protected, cleared of any possessions, and finally a checklist is signed off to make sure that everything is ready to begin. Now you may think this is a bit overkill, but remember, air conditioning units are big and heavy and they can cause damage to people and caravan services if dropped or manhandled incorrectly. As part of the installation, changes will be made to the electrical system with the addition of an electrical socket. The caravan's onboard electrics need to be checked therefore, that there are no potential faults or issues that can cause a poor installation. Once the aircon unit is installed, all the electrics are checked once again and a minor work certificate is issued to the caravan owner. So with any items that were plugged in now removed, the tests are carried out and the results are documented. Thankfully, my caravan passed with flying colours, so the installation can continue. This Omnivent is where the air conditioning unit will be installed, and the first task is to remove this unit. Simon is removing the trim and the fan from the inside, then on the roof he's releasing the adhesive to remove the roof light. He then finishes up by removing all the residue left behind until a clean surface remains. The removed Omnivent can now be taken away and stored, and you may see two electrical connections for the Omnivent still in situ. This means that if I want to transfer the AC unit onto a future caravan, the Omnivent can be put back in and reinstated as per the original specifications of this caravan. The new air conditioning unit will not use these cables, instead a new cable run will need to be created, and that's the next job. In order to run the cables for the power and the data in our caravan, the microwave needs to be removed. Various fixing and trim panels are removed to give access to the rear of the microwave cupboard and the electrical socket that will be modified to power the AC unit. A pilot hole is drilled in the roof to make way for new cabling. A bigger drill then creates a void for an auger. And this is not connected to a drill but instead run by hand to make sure that the depth is correct and that there is no damage caused whilst creating this void. Then another hole is cut inside the cupboard that just removes the inner skin and the two holes are connected together. This exit hole will have a cover place installed, making the installation neat and tidy. The final part before running the cables is to install a conduit that the cables will pass through. It's then time to run the power cables and the data cable. Now usually the data cable needs to make its way to the outer boiler. If I had a Truma system, the data cable would only need to make its way to the control panel. But because I've retrofitted my iNet system, the data cable will go straight to the iNet box, which is situated right next to the boiler. Once the data cable is routed, the RJ11 ends are added and tested, and the mains cable needs to run to the mains outlet that powers the microwave. The socket is removed and a double switched outlet is added in its place. Then the power cable has a mains plug wired up, ready for connection to the AC unit. Finally, a cable relief is drilled into the side of the mounting plate where the cable exit is placed, and then this is test fitted. That's all the tasks completed on the inside, so for now it's a quick clean up to remove all the debris from the cabling before we pop back up onto the roof. This area is given another clean down, and a generous continuous bead of non-setting adhesive is run around the perimeter of the opening, giving a good cushion for the mounting plate to sit upon. Then the air conditioning compressor is unboxed, lifted onto the platform and then raised onto the roof of the caravan. And as you can see, this is a two-man job to get it onto the roof and seated correctly. With a little bit of shuffling, that's it. The air conditioning unit is installed. Now, before we return inside, let me discuss the diffuser installation. So the diffuser is the part that you'll see on the inside of the caravan. On our previous Aventa compact, we had a similar diffuser. If you ignore the colour differences, you can see that the comfort diffuser is longer and has straight edges with the addition of LED strip lights. The position of the Omnivent above our kitchen in our caravan means that although the larger diffuser will fit, it will look quite crowded. The smaller diffuser will perform exactly the same job, it just won't have the LED lights. And to be honest with you, I'm not all that bothered about that. The smaller diffuser will not look so crowded in this space, and because it has smooth sides, it will look quite neat. I do think though Truma are missing a trick here. A smaller diffuser with LEDs wouldn't be a difficult task to create, and I think that would look really, really neat. Let's get back to the inside and finish the installation. With all the cable runs complete, the caravan trim panels are replaced, and the caravan electrics can be tested once again now that the modifications have been made. First off, a resistance check is completed across the live, the neutral and the earth in various combinations. An RCD earth check is completed, and then finally a polarity check is performed. The results from all these checks are documented, and a minor work certificate is created. Now to connect the AC unit to the electrical system. The cable ends have ferrules crimped on, and the terminal strips are added. Next, the mounting brackets are added, and one of these has the serial number stamped upon it. The bolts have lock thread already applied for ease of installation, and these bolts are torqued up to a specific rating so not to crush the AC seal or squeeze out any of the adhesive that was added earlier on. The cables are now secured in place and tidied away at the edges, and because each caravan manufacturer has a slightly different thickness of roof, the unit needs a tight seal from the compressor to the diffuser. And the unit comes with variable transfer tubes that create a good seal. It's not very clear, but with just 2 of these transfer tubes installed, the seal wouldn't be tight enough, and then this would cause condensation buildup on the top of the diffuser. Adding a couple more makes for a better seal. The diffuser cables are connected, and then this is all screwed in place onto the mounting plate. And finally, the 2 vent covers are added to the sides, and the installation is now complete. After reinstalling the microwave, replacing the cupboard door and a quick vacuum, it's time to test. Testing the unit via remote control on heat and cool modes via the outer panel, the auto climate control and finally the iNet app. The installation is signed off and that's it. I'm left with the user manual, a minor work certificate, remote control, but most importantly a brand new air conditioning unit installed in our caravan. And there we go, the air conditioning is now all installed, finished and wrapped up, and we're back now in storage. There's a few things I want to talk to you about post-installation. I've written them down on my phone here, so let's just go through some of the points that I want to talk to you about. First up, there's a few steps which I missed off. Nothing sinister, only because I couldn't get my camera in the way and I didn't want to really hold up the installation process that much. So there's a few minor steps which I missed off, but by and large you get the idea of what is going to happen if you have a roof-mounted air conditioning unit installed. Second point I want to talk about is the diffuser. At the point of purchasing your air conditioning unit, you can choose the style of diffuser that you want. You can either choose for one of these or you can choose for the larger one, etc. It's purely up to you. You can choose that when you purchase the air conditioning unit. If you've already purchased it and you're not happy with your diffuser, you can go back to your supplying dealer and you can get it swapped over at cost, but you can get them swapped over at a later date. So if you want it a little bit smaller, talk to the people who installed it, ask them how much it would cost to swap it over, and they'll let you know the prices, etc. of what's involved of swapping it over. The next point I'll talk about is cost. Well, that one cost £2,200, and that one included the fitting as well. Now, I did put a few weeks ago a comment on a couple of forums about this diffuser style, and somebody popped up on that chat and said that he would install it for £1,900, including fitting, nationwide. Contact him directly. I've now lost his details. However, it does seem to be there is some variation in prices, and it does seem that there are people willing to pop out to you to install it into your caravan. The only thing I will say is no matter who it is who's installing it, make sure that they are part of the AWS scheme, that's the approved workshop scheme, and make sure that at the end of the installation process you do get that minor works certification, which proves that they have measured and they have tested the installation, and it takes into account the changes that have taken place here in the caravan. It may only seem very slight, the addition of another socket here on the caravan, but there is a change to the core unit. And if you do have a warranty claim, let's say your electrics are playing up and you do have a warranty claim on your electrics, it's good to have that in place to prove that they didn't muck up any of the installation. So keep that in mind. Now, I mentioned right at the beginning that this has got 2.4 kilowatts of cooling power and 1.7 kilowatts of heating power. I have in storage over the last couple of weeks been using the heating side of things, and it's been absolutely brilliant. It has certainly taken the chill off here in the caravan when I'm up here filming, and it's been really, really good. I've been able to use one of my portable power station plugged into the side of the caravan to power it, and it's been awesome. It's been excellent. But I'm going to create a future video about how this thing actually performs, and in fact we are going to create a video going forward comparing this one to the compact which we had on our previous caravan. There's a few things that Angela and I have already noticed, and we're going to put those down side by side, and we're going to do a comprehensive comparison of the two units. It'll be quite fascinating actually, I think, for you to see that video. So if you are considering it, sadly you're going to have to wait a few months because we can only do that in the summer once we're able to use the air conditioning here in the caravan. But already we've noticed a few things, so keep your eye out for that in the summer. So I've put a link to this product, the compact that we had in our previous caravan, and the one that goes underneath the bed box. If you can't have one installed on your roof, like some caravans still cannot have one installed on the roof, there is another option to have one installed under a locker. So I've put a link to that one down in the description below. I think it's called the Saphir, the Sapphire. Oh, I don't know what it's called, but anyway, I've put a link to that in the description down below, and you can have a look, browse of that. It's literally the Truma website, so go and have a look to see what you think of those various models. And finally, the last thing for me to say is a huge thank you to Swindon Caravans for allowing me to record the installation and get in everybody's way. The whole team were very accommodating for me to film the whole process. I was genuinely in everybody's way, and they were getting a bit fed up with me by the end of the day. But I hope that this video has given you an insight into what takes place when you install an air conditioning unit. And if you are interested in one, it shows you what steps are taking place during the install of the unit. So that's it from me today. I hope this video has been useful and a bit of an insight. If you wouldn't mind, please do hit the subscribe button, hit the notification icon if you can do all of that, and I'll see you in the next upload. Many thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.